Hello everyone. I've been thinking a lot about how I could release this new film, A Conversation with America. Obviously we have the election coming up and also this terrible pandemic that's been going on. And of course it's sort of hard for any filmmaker to get a film out at this time. But beyond that, I've been thinking a lot about how can I share this documentary in a different type of way, in a more intimate type of way, to share the creative process behind it, the sort of thoughts and the emotions and the feelings that I had while filming it, but also the sort of creative challenges of actually making it in the first place, not just during it, but also afterwards, and the different creative issues and challenges and moments of stuckness, or the times of flow and the ways that you get yourself going and so on. I wanted to sort of break it down a little bit and to have a different type of conversation myself with the film, but also about what's actually going on in the US, and to share some of the discoveries and illuminations and gifts that I was so lucky to receive when I was over there. So anyway, A Conversation with America is my new documentary. I've been wondering, how the hell am I going to get it out? And so I started off the process writing to lots of curators at film festivals, especially in the US. I wrote about 1,000 emails and had a fantastic response. The reason I wrote the emails is because I'm on a budget, and I sort of after about the first 10 applications, I realized this is kind of getting crazy. So I thought I'd just reach out and say, look guys, I've got this film, it's on the US election, are you willing to take a look to at least kind of get the film in front of the jury? And I had a fantastic response from festival curators, so thanks to all of them. And it's kind of blown me away because it's kind of happened a lot faster than I thought. I think I've applied to about 100 and something festivals now, coming up to 40 confirmations, which has absolutely blown my mind, mainly in the US. And it's been a really great beginning. Very aware that I've been a guy kind of out making these indie docs, these DIY docs with a punk rock heart, in the age of Snapchat and Instagram stories. For years I've been out there kind of going, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this when the world's going a different direction? But I sort of always believed in this sort of trying to make a sort of bigger exploration somehow. I want to bring people into some of the scenes behind, but also sort of introduce some of the characters, some of the ideas in a sort of, call it a more internet friendly type of way. From the start with the film, I've wanted to try and do it in a different way. Before I went over to the US, I'd been sort of watching all the sort of Trump rallies and the rhetoric kind of get more and more out of control, and kind of getting a sense of this sort of political spectacle and drama. And even from very far here in Europe, I felt like I had no real feeling about what was really going on. It was just this kind of sense of reporting of this sort of a simulacra. I just wanted to go over and kind of listen and speak to people and get more of a sort of first-hand understanding. And that's been a sort of motivation sort of behind all my work, trying to sort of break down the sort of boundary between understanding of things and have a more first-hand experience, and then share some of those experiences on. I had this sense of wanting to engage with this moment in history. What's really going on? What are people feeling? What are people thinking? Are the divides that are going on worldwide, but sort of being signified in America, are they as real as as we believe? Where are the bridges? Where are the ways that we can learn different ways to communicate? Is there still the will to build these bridges? And I think on a personal level, it's well, what's the point of your life and your path and your journey in life? What is the meaning behind it? And I feel that part of the work that I'm trying to do is to find ways to build bridges, because bridges exist. The world just doesn't have to be polarized. It's even if you think of a sort of idea like the yin and yang, in the heart of one thing, you find the seed of the other. We are connected by so many different things on this planet, on this human path. And personally, I think that we have far greater challenges ahead, which unify and face us all, not just as human beings, but in nature and plants and animals. How are we treating the planet? And, in some ways, I see all this sort of crazy rhetoric and all the divides and division and inability to speak with one another nowadays, or to be angry at someone for having a sort of different perspective or viewpoint rather than listening. I think that we get pulled out by all these sort of sidetracks, and especially like in our politics, because our politics is a manifestation of beliefs and thoughts and ideas. But the capacity to have those thoughts and beliefs and ideas, it stems from something much deeper within us, and that's from the human heart, the human soul. This sense of humanity, of being nutcases out on a rock, spinning around in infinity, wondering what the hell is going on. Over in the US, that was my motivation. And I wanted to show little bits of the wisdom that I heard from people, and some of the things that they said. And despite the everyone thinking of this election as being just something massively polarized and opposites clashing against one another, I realized very quickly that there's a much deeper story, which is the issues that people are facing, the ways people are trying to communicate, the ways people are trying to grow, the way people are trying to sort of manifest their lives and their destinies, and the challenge that they face in their life in new ways. But one of the things that was one of my deepest experiences was learning to listen better. The film is called A Conversation with America, and in conversation you need to learn to listen. You need to have a sense of the other. You need sometimes to be able to, even if you're having an emotional reaction against something, to have this capacity to displace or put your own thought aside for a second and introject and feel this movement of feeling from the other. And that was an extraordinary experience, especially as I was speaking to so many people across the political divide. And of course I have my own feelings and my own subjective beliefs, and a candidate that I prefer between the two as well. We're all a part of this tale of this subjectivity that we find ourselves in. There's no need to deny that. But on a spiritual level, over in the US, my lesson was really just to learn to listen again, and to think about the art of conversation. And it was just there's so many wondrous things and so many wondrous experiences. Something else, I sort of also, within the film want to make a stand against hate speech, a stand against bullying, a stand against, all these different ways that people are abusing and insulting each other nowadays, whether it's on sort of internet forums or comments, whether it's within our politics, whether it's when we're around the dinner party and we kind of can't seem to relate. I believe that there's a different way that we can approach our lives, but I think it takes a huge amount of love and effort. I hope that this film has something to offer, because that's so much of what I received from the people that I was lucky enough to meet. Film is already out, and it's it's already out in film festivals. And there's been this thing that's been on my mind for ages. I'm like, oh God, I've recorded all of the music in my home studio. I've kind of bashed it out while I've been, doing the documentary and, really different books and trying to work out what the hell it is that's in my heart and my mind, trying to say and convert the sort of mind to brain and make the connections and deal with the contradictions and the paradoxes and the chaos and the politics and the news cycle, remembering the dates and people's names and all this stuff. But the thing that was on the back of my mind was like, damn, I just feel like I want to re-record the soundtrack in a music studio. In a real life music studio. Booked some studio dates. I was writing in America, I was writing before America. I suddenly realized I got all these songs, and even a lot of them aren't even in the film. Cool, I'm gonna make an album. Let's make an album, man. And I'm in the studio on Monday. Today's Friday. I don't know when I'm posting this video in the future, and I want to get this album out before the election. I'm going to sort of invite you into that creative journey a little bit more than usual. We can't, be out gigging. My last album, Love in the Face of Fear. Thank you for everyone who bought the vinyl, listened to it on the radio, shared it around with their friends and this type of thing. And is there anything else? I got this list, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's about it. The other thing I'm going to say is, keep loving in the face of fear.